Welcome to the Grieving Girlies, a space for the hearts that are healing from loss. I'm your host, Jode, here to hold space for the hard stuff, navigating loss with honesty, vulnerability, and zero judgment, because we deserve to grieve out loud.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Grieving Girlies. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that was very difficult for me in my grieving journey, and this is going back to work after losing someone you love and how difficult that is, because let me tell you, me and work were not friends for a long time. This, I feel like, is a bit of a common misconception when it comes to grief, is that when you don't go back to work very soon after losing someone you love, that you're doing yourself a disservice because you are just sitting around, moping around and not getting yourself out the house, which I'm not saying isn't the case, but also I'm saying, what is wrong with that? Really, truly, like, if you just need to mope around and be sad and just miss the person that you lost, then I actually don't really see that there's a huge problem with that. For me, when my partner passed away, I was due to start a new job a couple days after he passed. So the day that he passed, the following day was my last day at my job. And then I think 2 days later, I was supposed to start my new job. Obviously, then he died. I didn't go in for my last day, and I could not on the Monday face starting a new job and like meeting people and learning a new, that was absolutely a no-go. Obviously, like 2 days later. So luckily enough, I was working with my mum at the place that she works, which is what my new job was going to be. So I managed to, they were really, really great about it. And I had time off until the funeral. So Jack's funeral was a month after he passed. So I had that whole month off. And then I went back, or I tried to go back, about a week or so after that, and I literally just had a breakdown every day. I literally tried to go in again because I was working for my mum. It was quite flexible. I tried to go in for like 2 hours each day in the morning when it was quiet, just to like be shown the job a little bit and kind of get to grips with things. And my brain was so distracted. I remember being asked to put some paperwork in numerical order, so it was like, say, 1 to 50, and it was all jumbled up, so you had to like put it all in numerical order, and I just couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it, and that is like the easiest thing ever, an easy task for me, and I couldn't do it because I couldn't concentrate. I kept putting things in the wrong place, I kept getting it wrong, and I decided, this isn't for me. I can't do this. I am not ready to sit in a room full of people pretending that I'm okay, not thinking about Jack, not talk. All I wanted to do was sit at home and think about Jack and talk about Jack. And I was all consumed by my grief that I could not face learning a new job. So I gave the job up, which I got a lot of judgment for. And I was unemployed for 6 months after losing Jack. And I can honestly say that was the best decision for me. I'm not saying that that is right for everyone. For me, that was the best thing, because I near on lost my mind after losing my boyfriend. Like, I cannot describe to you the place that my mind was in, and to have to think about anything other than surviving was impossible for me for at least 6 months. At the 6 month point, I then started my business, which again was the best move for me. So I started a lash business. I was already qualified in doing lash extensions, and I knew it was something I could do where I could book one client a day to start with, or one client a week to start with, and all I had to do was put on a brave face for that 2-hour slot that I had a client in my chair. That was it. And to me, that was manageable. To me, there's no way I would have been able to go out 9 a.m. to a job, sit there till 5 p.m. with a brave face on. There's just no way I could have done it. And I know some people don't have a choice, and I'm very, very fortunate that I was living with my mum. I didn't really have any bills other than like my car and my phone and general things. I did have a loan, which luckily my mum, bless her heart, I'm still so much in debt to her, but she helped me out with. So I was fortunate enough that I had the flexibility to take that time to grieve. And I'll be honest, those first 6 months I didn't get out of bed a lot. I didn't do a lot. But But that's exactly what I needed to do to survive. And genuinely, I think had I have taken work on back then, I would have had an absolute breakdown later down the line. So for me, that was the best option. Now I know some people go back to work a lot sooner, and that's the best option for them because they need to get out the house. They need to be kept busy. Now in my grief, now that I'm almost 2 years on, my brain is the complete opposite in the sense that my coping mechanism is to stay so busy that I don't get a chance to think about it. And that's not to say think about Jack. I think about Jack in literally everything I do 24/7, but I don't get a chance to really think about the fact that he's gone and I'm never going to see him again and spiral down that road. I don't get time to think like that. And that's not that healthy. And I'm not saying that that's a good coping mechanism because I definitely am going to probably again have a breakdown at a later date. But for me, I've gone polar opposite. Those first 6 months especially, I literally could not focus on anything at all other than survival, grieving, missing Jack, crying, thinking about him, looking at videos, all of that stuff. Now I am so crazy in work mode. It's the complete opposite, and that is now what is best for me at this current moment in time. So I think there's a lot of pressure, especially when you're employed. There's a lot of pressure going back to work after losing someone. Obviously you kind of have to. I made the decision to give up my new job before I'd even really began, because I basically said to them, look, I don't feel in a fit state to work right now. I don't think I'm going to feel in a fit state to work for quite some time. That's not fair on you to be stringing along, because I was taking over from somebody who was retiring, and she was, bless her heart, putting off her retirement until I was starting. So I was like, that's not fair on anyone involved. And to me, the pressure of knowing that the clock was ticking and I was having to go back to a 9 to 5 was sending me into meltdown, even when I wasn't even going yet. And to be honest with you, I still think if I went to do a 9 to 5, that would give me a breakdown. That doesn't suit my lifestyle anymore. Not because of the hours or the job or anything. And I'm not work shy. I work 24 hours a day. It's the going out, sitting in an office with people you don't really know, pretending you're fine, painting a smile on, never speaking about my late boyfriend, going home and then letting it all out. That's not for me. I work on my own or with my clients. Most of my clients, I'd say 90% of them, know about Jack, and bless them, they're all amazing. They all speak to me about him and I love it. I feel like I get to just chat with friends all day. And I work in an office with 2 of my friends, so I don't have to put on a brave face. If I'm having a shit day, I can sit there and say, girls, I'm having the shittest day today. I cannot function. Just ignore me. And it's fine. I could not cope with putting a brave face on in front of strangers all day, every day. Again, that's me. Some people are different. So it really is such a tricky thing to deal with in terms of when is right to go back to work, and if you should go back to the same job or if you should find a new job, and blah, blah, blah. For me, again, same with everything in grief, there is no right or wrong answer as to when to go back to work or what you should do. To be honest, I think the correct answer is completely based on how you feel. If you feel like you can cope with going back to the job that you're in, do it. If you feel like it will help you to be getting out the house and seeing people and blah, 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 do it. If you feel like that's going to be detrimental to you and you know in your heart that that is not the best thing for you, do not listen to everyone else around you. Do what is best for you. For me, everyone around me was saying, oh, you can't just not work because it will make you worse, because you'll just be moping around and blah, blah, blah. Well, what are you going to do? You can't just not work. I got a lot of judgment for being unemployed and bumming around. And I say that in quotations for those of you that aren't watching the video footage of this podcast. When in reality, I was using every little ounce of my strength and my battery to survive the day. So I think people do not understand how much it takes for you to even get out of bed and have a shower in the morning. If they're judging you for the fact that you're not going to work, they have never experienced what you're going through. Because I would never judge someone for not being able to go back to work after grieving because of how I was, and I've been through that, and I know how hard it is to go back and face reality, a new reality, without the person that you love the most in the world. That's another part of it. You don't want to face reality. You don't want to face a life with the person, without the person you lost. You almost just want to pause and nothing to change, so that that person's not missing anything. And it takes a long time to get through that. And I think people thinking that you can go back to work after a couple of weeks or a month or like a week after the funeral, that is crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy to me. I will never ever understand the rush, and I understand employers have a business to run and they can't afford for everyone to have 6 months off. But at the end of the day, I think one of the most important things you realise when you have like an earth-shattering grief is that there is more to life than work. That's the bottom line of it. You die and your work will replace you within a week. You die and your family will still be grieving you in 20 years. That's the difference. So for me, it was more about actually just living my life, surviving and making the most of things, rather than just going back to sit behind a desk for the rest of my life. And I will never, I can confidently say I don't think I will ever go back to full-time employment, because running my own business has been so much more fulfilling for me. And that's just my personal opinion on the topic. So I hope this was helpful for somebody out there watching. If you're grieving and you're struggling with going back to work, know that you're not alone, and that it's absolutely okay to feel like you can't face work right now. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes or the description, depending on what you're watching this on, to a Cruse bereavement article, which goes into going back to work after loss with some helpful tips, some information on phased returns, etc. So that might be beneficial to have a read through if anyone is currently in this situation. As always, my messages, my DMs, my emails are always open, and you're always welcome to reach out if you just need someone to talk to who gets you. Reach out anytime. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening to The Grieving Girlies, and I will see you next week.